Welcome to our Heat Spanda Flow. This sequence focuses on fluidity and creativity within our vinyasa flow and introduces spontaneity, which are all governed by the sacral region, working with balancing and providing stability in the pelvis, hip flexibility, and release tension or discomfort in the lower back. This sequence is perfect if you suffer from stiffness and tightness in the pelvic region, to allow you to awaken to your sensual, creative, and intuitive potential.
You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
Let us begin our practice today seated, either choosing a butterfly pose with the soles of the feet together or taking a comfortable cross-legged pose. I've chosen a Varan mudra for our practice today, which is the thumb resting lightly against the little finger. The other three fingers are nicely outstretched, and you're relaxing the wrists on the back of your knees. And just allow the elbows to rest and allow the shoulders to drop down away from the ears. Our Varan mudra balances the water element within our body. And as we come to our mat today to practice, become present by drawing in to your breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils. Steady flow, inhaling and exhaling. And you may wish to keep the Varan mudra, or you might wish to take the hands to the body by bringing the left hand up onto the heart and the right hand down to the belly. And breathing into your palms here if you've chosen to release the Varan mudra. Steady flow of breath. Breathing in, taking that breath all the way down to the sacrum. And breathing out, releasing tightness, tension in the pelvic area, around the hips and around the root. And maybe you wish to draw into an intention for practice today of reaching your own creative potential, finding fluidity and flow on the mat. And gently bringing yourself to a comfortable tabletop position. Wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. And relaxing the sit bones back towards the heels as you come into a nice wide-legged child's pose. Hands may reach out in front of you, and just breathing through the back body here as you rest the forehead down on a block or onto the mat. Steady and slow breathing. Rising up to tabletop. And then start to circle the hips in a forward and backward motion, creating a figure of 8, the infinity symbol. And really allow your body to move here with the breath, breathing in to come forward and breathing out as you release the buttocks back to the heels. And just find flow through the body, through the spine, through the shoulders, through the arms, through the head and wrists. Coming back to neutral position, bringing the right foot towards the right wrist, and just reaching into a nice low lizard position here. And start those little circles with the hips once more. Bringing the hips towards the front heel and the buttocks back towards the back heel. Circling one way and then changing direction. Breathing in as you go forward, breathing out as you come back. And just notice here how the hip rotation feels for you as you release back to the tabletop and switching legs, bringing the left foot to the left wrist. And again, finding a nice comfortable direction. And pad out the knee if that's a little uncomfortable for you. If you're on a hard surface, always protecting our bones and our joints. And circling the other direction. And returning back to tabletop. Reaching the left arm forward, right leg back. Drawing in and out. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to draw into the center. 4 on each side, reach the fingertips and the toes away. And repeating on the opposite side, right arm stretches forward, left leg stretches back. Breathe in to lengthen, breathe out to draw in and release. Coming back to neutral tabletop once more. Lifting the right leg up and back behind you, opening the hip and maybe releasing the left hand to take hold of that right foot. Open the chest, open the hip, nice tiger pose here, release back to tabletop, left leg lifts, opening up the hip and pressing the foot into the hand if you've chosen to release the right hand away from the mat to take hold of the foot. Bring back to tabletop and releasing back to child's pose once more. Come to tabletop, then tuck the toes and pressing away from the mat, lifting the hips up into a bent-legged downward dog as you start to pedal out, releasing through the ankles, through the calves, through the knees. And find a comfortable downward facing dog here as you take a few steady breaths. Bending the knees, starting to walk forward to the front of your mat, coming into a nice gentle bent legged forward fold, letting the belly, the chest hang over the thighs, letting the head release, let it be heavy, maybe choosing to straighten the legs, and then breathing in, bringing yourself up to standing, releasing the hands down by the side of the body to find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Bringing the hands to heart center in Samastiti, grounding through the feet as you take a nice deep exhale breath. Breathing in, arms sweep up to the sky. Breathing out, chest leads, forward fold. Breathe into your half lift and breathe out as you bend the knees and step back with the right leg. Find your plank as you take back the left leg, and exhale, ground position. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Ripple through the spine to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Stepping the right foot forward between the hands, left foot joins at the front of the mat. Inhale, bring yourself up to standing. And exhale, hands back into Samasthiti. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, flat back, fold forward. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, step back, left leg. Right leg to plank. Exhale, knees down, chest down. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Ripple forward into your high plank, choosing chaturanga up dog or your ground position cobra variation. Back to down dog on your breath out. Stepping forward, left leg. Right leg meets at the front. Inhale, arms bring you up to standing. And exhale, back to Samasthiti. Repeating, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend and step back. Right leg, left leg to plank. Knees, chest, ground position as you breathe out. Inhale, cobra. Roll the shoulders back and down. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward over the wrist to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts up and back, stepping through. Left leg meets at the front. Forward fold. Inhale, bring yourself up. And exhale, hands back into the heart center, Samasthiti. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, chest leads, full fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, step back, left leg. And right to plank. Knees, chest, ground position as you breathe out to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into high plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg, three-legged dog, steps through to the hands. And right leg meets at the front in your fold. Inhale, bring yourself up to standing. Exhale, hands come back into the heart space. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long, slow half lift, lengthen the spine, be aware of the pelvis stability. Exhale, fold, step back right, step back left, high plank, knees down, ground position. Inhale, roll the shoulders, ground the pubic bone to cobra. Exhale, tuck toes, send the hips back down dog. Inhale, come forward over the wrists, lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, keep the shoulders away from the earlobes. Exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back behind you, comes through to meet the hands. Left leg comes through to fold. Inhale, bring yourself up. And exhale, hands come into the heart. Inhale, arms raised to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Step back left, step back right to plank. Lowering to ground position on your exhale. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple through to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg sweeps up and back, three-legged dog, comes all the way through. Place the foot between the hands, bring the right to meet to the fold. Inhale, arms sweep up as you bring yourself to standing, and exhale, hands come back into Samasthiti. Taking a few moments just to steady the breath. Notice if the heart rate has increased. Inhale, arms raise. Exhale, slow fold forward. Inhale, ripple to your half lift. Exhale, bend the knees. And you can float back here or step back to plank, chaturanga, up dog, and take it back into downward facing dog. Lifting up the right leg up and back behind you, opening up the hip into that scorpion. Keeping the shoulders nice and square to the front of your mat, stepping that right leg through to the hands, and then planting the back foot as you windmill the hands open to warrior two, bending through the front knee and taking the gaze over the middle finger, finding your drishti and being aware here of that pelvic stability. Breathing in warrior two, sinking a little deeper. And coming into a half moon balance, Ardha Chandrasana. Hands might come to the mat or to a block. So bringing the right hand down to the mat, left leg lifts, left arm reaches up to the sky, checking your balance here. And then stepping back with control, back to warrior two. Turning the feet parallel to the side of your mat, turning the toes inwards, heels turn out, coming into a wide leg standing fold. Fold forward on your exhale. Lifting the sit bones up towards the sky. Really letting the body fold forward with gravity here, relaxing through the head and the neck. Bringing yourself up to standing. Release to warrior two once more. Windmill the hands over as you frame the front foot and send that right leg back. Ground position. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple to plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, keeping the shoulders away from the earlobes. And back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back behind you, opening up through the hip. Pressing the chest back towards that right thigh, releasing the right heel, and then stepping through into your warrior two with the left leg in front this time, planting the back foot, finding the drishti, bending into your front left knee. Preparing to come into the balance of half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So looking forward to the front of your mat, finding that block or reaching the hands down to balance and find stability. Slowly with control, lifting the right leg, lifting the the right arm, and changing the gaze to add challenge here. Challenge up towards that top hand is going to make that more difficult for the balance, and returning back to warrior two. Turning toes inwards, heels out for wide leg forward fold. Interlacing the fingers behind the back and folding forward, and maybe those arms come up and over the head here. So try to breathe into the tight areas of the shoulders, the shoulder girdle, letting those arms release and be heavy towards the mat. Breathe in as you bring yourself up. Exhale, warrior two. Windmill the hands over, frame the front foot. Exhale, back to downward facing dog or plank. Lowering to ground position. Inhale, cobra. Always your connecting vinyasa. Back to down dog. Inhale, ripple through to plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Finding a couple of breaths here, and then walking the hands back towards the feet. Full fold here as you bend the knees and start to roll up through the spine to standing. Widening the feet to the outer edges of your mat and coming into Malasana squat or garland pose. Taking the knees, tracking them over the middle toes. Dropping the sit bones between the heels, keeping a long spine. Neck is long, crown of the head reaches up, hands come into the heart, elbows just connect to the inner knees. Maybe closing the eyes and breathing deeply here into the sacrum and the root. Releasing the hands to the mat, lifting the hips and walking the feet in. Let's take an arm balance here of crow pose or crane. So bringing the arms into shoulder width height and resting the knees either in the armpits or on the back of your upper arms. Maybe one toe, both toes, lift off into that crow or crane arm balance, lifting the sacrum up towards the sky. Release the feet to the back of the mat and sway out through the spine in your fold. Walk the hands forward and bring the knees to the mat. Take a wide knee and toes touch back into child's pose as you release the belly between the thighs, breathing deeply into the back of your body here, the back spine, relaxing the head down towards the mat, reaching the fingertips forward. Breathing into tabletop, exhaling, tucking toes back into downward facing dog, inhaling the right leg up and back behind you. Sweeping that leg all the way through to meet the hands and planting the back foot, maybe a little bit shorter here. We're preparing to come into our second flow and coming forward into pyramid pose. Inhale as you lengthen the spine and exhale as you fold the chest and belly towards the front leg. Thinking of the crown of the head reaching down towards the mat. Really grounding through the back heel, lengthening through the back leg. And thinking about pelvic stability here as you draw the left hip forward, right hip back. Preparing to come to revolved triangle, so the left hand stays on the inside of your right foot and the right hand can come to place on the sacrum or reach to the sky. And stepping forward into revolved half moon pose. So again, really opening through the rib cage, opening up through the chest to the side of your mat. Gaze can stay down at the hand or up to the raised hand, stepping back to your connecting vinyasa from plank, ground position. Exhale, inhale, cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. Ripple through the spine to plank. Exhale, chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, exhale, back to downward facing dog. Preparing for the left, inhale, left leg sweeps up and back behind you, three-legged dog. Bring that leg straight through to meet the hands, planting the back foot, maybe again a little bit shorter than usual, and preparing to come into your pyramid pose, so hands come up onto the hips, folding forward with a nice flat back, pelvic stability nice and strong here as you fold the belly, the chest, down towards that front left thigh. Maybe the forehead draws towards the shin, crown of the head reaches towards the toes, really plant through the back heel. Preparing to come into your revolved triangle, hand can come to the block or to the mat on the inside of your left leg, lifting the right arm to the sacrum or to the sky, really rotating through the rib cage. And then stepping forward, finding stability through that supporting leg as you lift the right leg up and back behind you and come into your revolved half moon, Parivrita Ardha Chandrasana. Stepping back into plank, exhale, ground position, inhale, cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. Ripple forward to plank. Exhale, knees down, chest down to the mat, hands come underneath the forehead and just sway out through the hips. Allow the body to release and relax here, feeling the front body connecting in towards the earth. Palms come underneath the shoulders and just lift up lightly into your cobra position, drawing the elbows in towards the rib cage, shoulders away from ears. Press a little bit higher, keeping the pubic bone and the hip bones grounded. And then reach the hands out to the side. Keep lifting through the chest, interlace the fingers behind you and press the knuckles back towards the heels into half locust. And gently release and hands return back underneath the forehead, swaying out through the hips. Pressing back to tabletop. And bringing your right knee to right wrist for pigeon pose. So finding a nice comfortable pigeon here that works for you, maybe propping up your right hip with a block. And either tucking or releasing that extended leg behind you as you fold forward into your resting or sleeping pigeon. Breathe out and release through the sacrum, the glutes, the hips. Gently coming back up, back to tabletop. Left knee to left wrist. Open out that underneath foot. Light flexion through the ankle here. Sinking the hips down towards that left heel. Lifting up through the chest for a little bit of a back bend before coming forward. And giving you the space you need to release the belly over that thigh. And really allowing the whole pelvic region now to release with gravity as you rest the head down onto the hands, a block or the mat. Pressing through the fingertips to bring you up and bringing that leg back into tabletop position, widening the knees, big toes touch, and coming into a wide leg child's pose once more to release. Rolling up through the spine, bringing the knees together into kneeling, and just sitting upright there for a moment to feel the length of your spine, spinning the legs around into a half spinal twist. So the underneath leg, the left leg, can be straight or it can be wrapped underneath you. The right leg crosses over. And let's take a nice long spinal lift here, breathing in through the spine and exhale to take the rotation. And then maybe that arm comes over your right knee. But you're drawing the chest to the side of your mat, trying to get the belly away from the thigh, lifting up nice and tall as you breathe in, maybe deepening the rotation in the spine as you breathe out. Feel really grounded through both sit bones and not too much weight into that back hand. Bring yourself center. Coming into cow face pose here. So right leg is on top, left leg is underneath. Trying to get those knees to connect. Releasing the legs. Changing sides. So right leg is extended, left leg comes across for spinal twist. Grounding through that left foot and lifting the right arm up. Exhaling, taking the twist, getting the belly free from the left thigh. and using that back left arm as your leverage, keeping the shoulders relaxed away from the ears, sitting nice and tall. Steady flow of breath. Returning back to center, and then coming into cow face, legs. So wrapping the left leg on top, right leg underneath, and releasing the legs nice and slowly when you are ready, coming to the end of your mat and starting to roll down through the spine, really drawing the sacrum, the lower back, the middle back, the upper back and shoulders, back of the head down to the mat, and drawing the knees in towards the chest, starting to roll a little bit and massage through the spine here, really connecting the back body. Placing the soles of the feet down onto the mat and start to do a little few pelvic tilts here. Really just lifting the tailbone and the sacrum away from the mat, lifting up, curling and releasing. Really just isolating those pelvic movements, pressing into the feet, relaxing the toes. I've got a lot of work through pelvic stabilization through our practice today. Hands come down by the side of the body, knees come back into the chest, legs go straight up to the sky, and coming into dead bug, lifting the arms up, reaching the fingertips towards the sky. And really feel that gravity takes the entire body into the mat. And taking your option here of a supported shoulder stand, or maybe using a block or a bolster underneath the sacrum if you don't have shoulder stand in your practice. So the hands might come underneath the lower back as you lift the legs up towards the sky. Being careful of any neck and shoulder issues here. And then releasing the legs either to snail, knees by the ears, bent knees, or toes back behind the head. Or you can stay in your supported shoulder stand with the block or the bolster. Many options from plow or halasana. Starting to slowly roll down through the spine. So trying to keep the legs where they are, close to the body, close to the face. Release the shoulders, upper, middle, lower back, and then drawing the belly in towards the lower back and the lower back in towards the mat as you slowly lower the legs down to the mat. Take a moment into Shavasana as you just release. Maybe give the hips a little bit of a shake here. Drawing the knees in towards the chest for some gentle reclined twists. So dropping both knees together over to the right side of the mat, looking towards the left hand. Really try to release any tightness and tension here. And then breathing in, bring the knees back into center. Breathing out, knees go over to the left. And maybe the gaze goes towards the right palm, really trying to anchor through the right shoulder blade here, drawing both shoulders down, opening the chest up towards the sky. Breathing in and out, finding equal breaths. Breathing in, draw the knees back into center. Realign hips, pelvis, spine, release the facial expression, the throat, and then choosing your option for your final relaxation in Shavasana, maybe with the knees bent, maybe a bolster underneath the knees, or the legs straight along the mat. And let's come into final relaxation. For the last couple of minutes of our practice, I'll leave you here in silence. and just remaining completely present for yourself. Steady and slow breaths, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back around shortly. Beginning to breathe a little bit deeper, bringing awareness back into your surroundings, back on the mat and into the body by bringing soft and gentle movement to the fingertips, to the toes, into the head, choosing what you need to do to awaken from Shavasana, either stretching out or drawing the knees in, rolling and massaging, and taking time to roll over to one side and bring yourself up to a comfortable seat, either butterfly with the soles of the feet together or cross-legged. And sitting nice and tall here, really grounding through the sit bones, maybe returning to our Varan Mudra, the thumb pressing lightly against the little finger, other three fingers are outstretched. Or maybe drawing the hands in towards the heart space in Anjali Mudra, fingertips and palms connected. Just take note of how you feel, and also returning back to your own personal intention for practice of finding and improving your own creative potential on the mat, but also as you roll up your mat, taking that into your daily life. And always remembering to thank yourself, your body, your breath and energy for practice. And I thank you all.